Amy Robertson, Special Needs Ministry Coordinator at Sojourn Midtown.
And I'm Jared Kennedy, Midtown Pastor of Families. Today we'd like to talk to you about grace-based classroom management. One of the most important skills for a children's ministry teacher to learn is how to manage behavior. I've found that this is particularly tricky for classroom teachers who are conscientious about the gospel. We know that we're not saved by our performance, so creating a list of classroom rules or giving too much attention to how well-behaved children are can seem harsh or legalistic. On the other hand, if a teacher doesn't think about managing behavior at all, the class can get completely out of control. Kids are difficult to teach, and the joy is completely sucked out of the ministry role. So what can we do? We want grace-filled classroom environments. So ask yourself, how does my classroom align with the following 4 traits? First, sin aware. We don't pretend that kids are basically good and just need a little direction. We recognize that there are no good kids and bad kids. Instead, we expect absolutely everyone, including ourselves, to arrive to the classroom with big problems that only Jesus can fix. Second, focused on the heart. We're never satisfied with merely manipulating outward behavior, but instead we recognize that kids who look obedient still need Jesus. We don't let either rule-keeping kids or rule-breaking kids use their behavior as a way to avoid Christ. We seek heart-level growth in both. Third, grace-aware. We recognize that any good in us, including the growth and change that happens within us, comes to us as a gift from God. Being aware of our need for grace helps us grow in patience. Instead of saying, "Why can't this kid get it?" we can quietly pause and ask God for help. And finally, delighting in Jesus. We won't let kids use Jesus to get something else they want more. For example, we don't pray, worship, and read a Bible story so we can move on to more fun activities. Rather, we communicate that nothing is more important or enjoyable than Jesus.
I love these goals. They give a great picture of what we're aiming for in grace-based classrooms. But it's possible to come into the classroom with the right heart and still do a poor job handling a disruptive child. How do we make this practical? Here are 9 key strategies. Number 1, be well prepared and organized. Know your lesson. Be structured and well-paced. Half of classroom management is knowing exactly what you're doing. If you're prepared and organized, children will have less of an opportunity to get out of hand. Number 2, give clear expectations. Make instructions clear and repeat them. Model gentleness and use a firm tone only when necessary. In our classroom, we have just a few simple rules. Number 1, first-time obedience. Number 2, the Give Me 5 strategy should be used to gain the children's attention. The leader will say, "Give me 5," and hold out their 5 fingers. The children should respond with eyes on the speaker, mouth quiet, body still, ears listening, and hands to self. Number 3, be consistent. Follow the same rules and same schedule every week and repeat the rules every week. Week-to-week consistency helps children to feel safe and secure. Model the way. If children are singing and doing hand motions during worship times, teachers should be as well. Don't ask children to do activities that you're not prepared to do yourself. Watch your example because children are great imitators. Number 5, praise children for good behavior. Encourage kids when they do well. Removing prizes and candy incentives does not mean that we should also take away verbal encouragements. You might say, "Thank you, Rachel, for being kind to Lucy." Number 6, give the reason why. Discuss the importance of obeying and being respectful with your class often, even with young toddlers. We want to motivate kids to sit quietly and listen, be active participants, and engage the lesson. Stress the importance of listening to God's word, obeying God by obeying teachers who are in authority, and loving others by listening to friends. You might say, "Johnny, it's important to sit and listen quietly because God is speaking to you through the Bible." As we teach kids to participate in Bible study and worship gatherings, they are learning skills that they will carry with them into adulthood. Number 7, have a strategy in place for involving parents when a child persists in negative or disruptive behavior. You can download the attached ministry guide that accompanies this video. On the second page, there's a sample policy for how to manage particularly disruptive or persistent negative behaviors by getting parents involved. Number 8, don't motivate by comparison. We don't motivate kids to express better behavior by comparing them to others, and we don't motivate by shame. Don't ever say, "Trey, I wish you could be more like Ashley." Maybe you're thinking, I would never say that, but motivating by comparison has a subtle way of sneaking into our teaching. More often, I hear, "Boys, let's listen up and be quiet like the girls." Or, "Everyone walk quietly. I want us to be the best behaved class in the preschool department." Instead of motivating our kids by comparing them to one another, we want to motivate them by the intrinsic good of what we're asking them to do. As I said earlier, we sit and listen quietly because this is God's Word. Number 9, finally, here are a few last don'ts. No children's ministry leader should ever use corporal punishment. Spanking is not appropriate for someone else's child. Also, never ridicule, humiliate, or deny a child food or drink.
So, that's a 101 walkthrough of grace-based classroom management. Thanks for watching.